Hey, Shalom Shalom Mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. I'm your host, Rabbi Yehuda ben Shomer, and today we're going to be talking about Yeshua's death and human sacrifice. Now, Leviticus 18:21 and Deuteronomy 18:10, Part A, both clearly state the Torah stance and the divine prohibition against human sacrifice, specifically to pagan gods and pagan deities. And a lot of Jewish people, and other people for that matter, have a problem with Yeshua's redemptive death on the Roman cross because they see it as a clear prohibition against the Torah mandate against human sacrifice. So I'd like to address that issue today. So basically, first of all, we need to point out that Yeshua's death upon the execution stake by the Romans was not a sacrifice. It was not officiated by any priesthood, whether Israeli or pagan. It was not a sacrifice to any pagan gods or even to the God of Israel for that matter. It was a public execution. Yeshua was tried by the Roman government, and upon the demand and agreeance of the people that were under Roman rule at that time in the land which they were, Yeshua was sentenced to be executed, was sentenced to be killed and crucified on the Roman cross. Now, even though the cross has been connected with an ancient Roman religion of Mithraism, and that sacrifices were made to Mithra on something similar to a cross, the Roman government at this time had separated the secular and the sacred, so to speak, and so this was a mode of public execution, and it had nothing to do with religion. So Yeshua's death upon the cross was not a human sacrifice. It was not deemed or considered a human sacrifice. So we need to make that very clear. I'd like to quote to you from a Orthodox Jewish historian and rabbi, Beryl Wine, in his book The Triumph of Survival, The Story of the Jews in the Modern Era, 1650 to 1990. He says, "It was an old Jewish tradition that the death of the righteous and the innocent served as an expiation for the sins of the nation or the world. Jews nurtured this classic idea of death as an atonement, and this attitude towards their tragedies were constant companions throughout their turbulent exile. Unreasoning slaughter was somewhat relieved by the fact that the innocent did not die in vain, and that the betterment of Israel and humankind somehow was advanced by their stretching their neck to be slaughtered." Now, before you go and say, well, this is just one rabbi, he may be off his rocker or he may be radical in his views or opinion, I'd like to point out to you that rabbinical literature, from the Talmud to the Zohar to the Midrash to the Mishnah to Rashi and other commentaries of the Torah and the Tanakh, clearly state the idea and the philosophy that the death of the righteous atones. The death of the righteous has atoning power. This is a concept that is universal throughout Judaism, and it's interesting that Gentiles are ignorant of this fact, and that Jews themselves, in reference to Yeshua's death, either suppress, deny, or totally ignore this fact about Judaism. There are too many citations to rattle off, but in the description of the video, I will try to put these citations down for you so that if you desire to look them up on your own, you can. But for instance, you have the Zohar, chapter 2, verse 212a. "As long as Israel dwelt in the Holy Land, the rituals and the sacrifices they performed in the temple removed all those diseases from the world. Now Messiah removes them from the children of the world." So it's interesting how the death of the righteous throughout the scripture, from Moses' sister Miriam to his brother Aharon, even to Aharon's sons, who was destroyed because of their well-intended sin. They're offering strange fire unto Adonai. They did not do this in rebellion, but out of rebellion of their heart, rather, but they actually did this in wanting to give a little extra, give a little more, but God said basically, hey, this isn't the sacrifices, this isn't the way I have prescribed you to worship me, and it was unacceptable. And the commentators in the Talmud view all of these deaths as righteous, as deaths of righteous people, and that they had atoning power, that some people had to die on behalf of Israel. One classic example is the brazen serpent on the pole that Moses lifted up. There were some people that had to die, but their death was seen partially as an atonement for Israel. Not only that, but when King Saul unjustly slaughtered the Gibeonites in recompense, in an act of atonement, and this was okayed by God himself. According to 2 Samuel chapter 21, David took some of Saul's relatives that were surviving and remaining and killed them. And it says that after he did this, that God answered the prayers on behalf of the land. So their death was seen as an atonement. So modern Judaism downplays the righteous death of Messiah Yeshua and the messianic redemptive overtones of Isaiah 53, despite the Zohar and other rabbinic literature connecting Isaiah 53 to one man, to a redeeming Messiah. Not only this, but you have apocryphal literature that talks about the death of the righteous being seen as an atonement for the people. 4th Maccabees chapter 6, 28 and 29, chapter 13, verse 12, chapter 16, verse 20, chapter 17, verse 22, and so on and so forth. Not only this, but the Qatan, the binding of Isaac in Judaism, is seen to have atoning qualities and atoning power that are connected to Messiah and his redemptive work. And again, I'll try to make all these citations available. So these are some things that I wanted to point out to you. Not only that, but this concept is alive and well in modern day Judaism, but also we see this same concept as the righteous, the death of the righteous having atoning power for the people. We see this very concept even in the Brit Chadasha, as stated by Jewish people. John 11:49 through 55, it says, "One man of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest the same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation not perish. And he spake, and this he spake not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yeshua should die for that nation, and not for the nation only, but also he should gather together in one of the children of God that were scattered abroad. Then from that day forth they took counsel together for to put him, Yeshua, to death." John 18:12 through 14 says, "Then the band and the captain and the officers of the Jews took Yeshua and bound him, and led him away to Ananias first, for he was the father-in-law to Caiaphas, which was the high priest that same year. Now Caiaphas was he which gave counsel to the Jews, that it was expedient that one man should die for the people." So here we have that theme, even in Yeshua's day, that the death of the righteous atones. So even in the traditions of Judaism, in the customs of Judaism, we see that Yeshua's death has great significance and great meaning. So Yeshua's death is not seen as a human sacrifice and prohibition of Torah, but a righteous death which atones for the people. Thanks for watching. Shalom and Shavua Tov. Bye-bye.